2015 ABC Supply 500 was an IndyCar Series event that was contested at Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, USA. The race served as the penultimate race of the 2015 IndyCar Series season and was the third and final leg of the season's Fuzzy's Ultra Premium Vodka IndyCar Triple Crown. The race was won by Ryan Hunter-Reay driving the number 28 DHL Dallara Honda for Andretti Autosport. It was marred, however, by a crash involving Sage Karam 21 laps from the finish that resulted in Justin Wilson being hit by the nose cone from Karam's car and suffering a fatal head injury. Wilson died the next day. Contents. This article has 4 sections. These sections are Section 1, Background, Section 1.1, Recap, Section 1.2, Broadcasting, Section 2, Fatal Accident, Section 3, Results, Section 3.1, Qualifying, Section 3.2, Race, Section 4, References. Included in this article is an info box summarizing the details of the 2015 ABC Supply 500 race. Section 1, Background. The race was run on Sunday, August 23, 2015. The scheduled distance was 500 miles, 800 kilometers, which required 200 laps around the triangular oval, 2.5 miles, 4.0 kilometers in length. Section 1.1, Recap. The pole position was won by Hélio Castroneves of Team Penske, driving the number 3 car. Penske Chevrolets qualified in the first 3 positions, with Castroneves' teammate Simon Pagenaud starting alongside him in the number 22, and defending series champion Will Power behind him in position 3. Karam, driving a Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing, qualified 20th, with Wilson 7th and Hunter-Reay 8th. Overall, 24 drivers qualified for the race. Castroneves would eventually crash out of the event, finishing 16th. Wilson was scored in 15th, with Karam 1 position in front of him. The highest finishing of the Penske cars was the number 2 of series points leader Juan Pablo Montoya, as he finished in 3rd to receive a spot on the podium. Josef Newgarden, driving the number 67 Chevrolet for CFH Racing, took the other position on the podium by way of his 2nd place finish and finished with a race-high 47 laps led. He was followed by Gabby Chaves, who led 31 laps in the number 98 Honda for Brian Herta Autosport, and Pagenaud, who led 30 laps. Hunter-Reay, Castroneves, and Tony Kanaan each led more than 20 laps. There were 12 caution periods for 74 laps, and the race ended under the yellow flag. 11 cars were running at the finish, with each being on the lead lap except for Pippa Mann, whose number 18 Dale Coyne Racing Honda was running in 13th place 15 laps down. Section 1.2, Broadcasting. NBCSN and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network provided coverage of the event on television and radio, respectively. Lee Diffie called the race on television with Steve Matchett and Paul Tracy providing analysis. Matchett, Diffie's colleague from NBCSN's coverage of Formula One, was substituting for Townsend Bell, whose commitments to his United Sports Car Championship team took him to Virginia International Raceway that day, where he finished first in his classification at the Oak Tree Grand Prix. Paul Page headed the IMS booth with analysis Davey Hamilton, with Mark Janes and Jake Query reporting from the track. Section 2, Fatal Accident. On lap 180 of the event, Karam was leading when he lost control of his car in turn 1 and made contact with the wall. The impact tore away most of the front end of Karam's car and he slid to a stop just past the exit to turn 1. The nose cone of the Chevrolet came off with such force that it was bouncing on the track as the drivers drove past. When Wilson, running 14th, drove by the scene, Karam's nose cone struck him in the head and knocked him unconscious. Wilson's number 25 Honda lost control and veered off track, hitting the inner wall just past turn 1 and continuing the slide up the track. Karam, although shaken up, was able to exit his car with no major injuries. Wilson, however, was unresponsive when the track safety crew arrived at his machine and he had to be extricated from the car. A medevac helicopter was called for and transported Wilson to Lehigh Valley Hospital in nearby Allentown. He was reported to be in a coma with a severe head injury and was listed in critical condition. At approximately 2100 local time on August 24, 2015, a press conference at Indianapolis Motor Speedway had announced that Wilson had died from his injuries at the age of 37. Wilson was the first IndyCar driver to lose his life since Dan Wheldon's fatal accident at the 2011 IZOD IndyCar World Championship in Las Vegas. His death was the second such occurrence in the world of open-wheel racing in 2015, following the death of Marussia F1 driver Jules Bianchi 9 months after suffering a diffuse axonal injury in a crash at the 2014 Japanese Grand Prix. Section 3. Results. Section 3.1. Qualifying. This section is accompanied by a table showing the qualifying order for the race, which includes the time set by the driver and the gap to the pole sitter. The qualifying order is Hélio Castroneves, Simon Pagenaud, Will Power, Josef Newgarden, Graham Rahal, Carlos Munoz, Justin Wilson, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Takuma Sato, Sebastian Bourdais, Scott Dixon, Tony Kanaan, Tristan Vautier, Jack Hawksworth, James Jakes, Gabby Chaves, Pippa Mann, Ryan Briscoe, Juan Pablo Montoya, Sage Karam, Ed Carpenter, Marco Andretti, Charlie Kimball, and Stefano Coletti. Section 3.2. Race. This section is accompanied by a table showing the finishing order for the race, which includes the engine and aero kit used, the number of laps completed, the time or reason for retirement, the number of pit stops, the grid position, the number of laps led, and the number of points scored. The finishing order is Ryan Hunter-Reay, Josef Newgarden, Juan Pablo Montoya, Will Power, Carlos Munoz, Takuma Sato, Simon Pagenaud, Ryan Briscoe, Scott Dixon, James Jakes, Gabby Chaves, Charlie Kimball, Pippa Mann, Sage Karam, Justin Wilson, Hélio Castroneves, Ed Carpenter, Marco Andretti, Tony Kanaan, Graham Rahal, Tristan Vautier, Jack Hawksworth, Sebastian Bourdais, and Stefano Coletti. This concludes the spoken article 2015 ABC Supply 500.